don't assume you're going to figure it out when you get there. That's really the message, is do the work now before you get there. Everybody's planning financially. Nobody's planning for life. And life is what you're going to live for the next 25, 30 years. And why waste the time trying to figure it out when you're there? Do the work while you're here so you can start immediately living. If that's, I could share one thing, don't think you're going to figure it out when you get there. Figure it out before you get there and retire with things, not to things.
Has your life, your dreams been interrupted? Good news. It is possible to reinvent our lives. People are doing it every day, and some are brave enough to share the struggles, disappointments, and challenges. If you are looking for a new beginning, a do-over, or to rediscover your passion, maybe even find a new one, then grab a cup of coffee and let's talk. Interrupted, Act 2, Reinventing Your Legacy, with your host, Coach Lori.
Andrea Maizes is amazing because she's written this book about retirement, and burnout can look the same, but confusing them can be very detrimental. So, Andrea, welcome. I can't wait to hear what you're going to tell us about.
Thank you, Lori. I appreciate you having me.
I really like that sentence about burnout and then at retirement, how it can look the same, because I have a lot of friends that are seniors. And it is confusing. And women of our age that are retiring now often weren't taught anything about finances growing up. So The name of your book is?
Your Next Edit, 30 Thought-Provoking Questions on Building the Retirement of Your Dreams. And the book itself focuses on the non-financial aspects of retirement, the part we don't think about. We all plan for the finances. It's beaten into our heads from when we're young. Save your money, save your money, save your money. But nobody talks about what happens after you do leave your primary career. So you're sort of caught unawares. You might have enough money, but then you're like, now what do I do?
I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, but one of the things I've noticed is often when people get to the place where they retire, them or their spouse will pass away. Yeah. And so they've done all this planning and saving, and now they're having to deal with that and grief.
And it's very different retiring with a spouse or a person, your significant other, and by yourself. And if you think you're going to go do it one way and you've planned to do it one way, and then something catastrophic happens and suddenly you don't have that person anymore, sort of everything starts out like your thinking is like, well, now what happens? And it's double devastation.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And it sounds like with your 30 thought-provoking questions that I love that, because often, so when my sister was going to retire, everywhere we went, when they found out, they'd tell her what to do. Like people didn't say, like, what are your plans? Because she's a bird watcher and she's learning art and she's doing all these amazing things. They just assumed she was going to go sit in a rocker.
And the vision we have for retirement is one that was created a long time ago, and it no longer applies. That's one of the issues. The second issue is for women, we don't really have any role models, right? We're the first generation that's made it sort of, let's say, made it in the corporate world or whatever professions we chose. And now we're retiring, and we don't really have anybody to look to, because our mothers, many of them did not work. They didn't retire because they raised a family, and then they raised a family, and then they watched their grandchildren, whatever they did. And no shade. I have a grandson, and watching him is the hardest job on the planet. He's like all over the place. I just don't think we have a lot of role models, and we have a society who thinks retirement is the end.
Yeah, that is so good. There's these two ladies that overdress. I think they're in New York. I don't know if you've seen their reels.
I have.
Yeah, someone interviewed them and they said, we retired and we thought we were going to have all this fun. And we were like, we weren't even relevant. People weren't even interested. We didn't get noticed, because there is an element of our time where we do get seen and heard, and then we become older. And so that's why they created this dressing up thing. Yeah. And I love it so much. And it really feels like what you're saying. It's more than retiring and being comfortable. It's retiring and being, now what? We have this whole second chance.
Not only you could potentially live another 25 or 30 years. That's a long time. So, but the challenge is those next 30 years, they're not all going to be the same. The first 10 are going to be different than the second 10 and the third 10, if you're lucky enough to have that third 10, because physically you may not be the same. Mentally, you need, things change. So the idea is to think about what it is you want to do. It sounds like your sister, I'll use her as an example. She had a lot of things that she was already doing. So people who have that in their lives already have an easier time of adjusting than somebody like me who I really worked. And that's what I did. I worked, I raised my kids. That was it. So when I left work, I was burned out. I thought I was ready to retire. I left work to nothing because I had no hobbies. I hadn't cultivated any of those things. And then it became like, well, if you can do everything, you end up doing nothing because you don't know what you want to do. You know, you just don't know even where to start, and it's depressing. Let's just leave it there. It's very depressing.
So what did you do? What was your journey through this?
So when I left, I cleaned out all my closets. I digitized every photo I have ever taken. Okay, I think. I made all my doctor's appointments. I, did the things I needed to do around my house. And then I was like, on a Tuesday at 10 o'clock, I'm like, well, what am I going to do now? And I'm like, well, I guess I could have a drink, but that's probably a bad idea to start drinking at 10 a.m. Like I really didn't know what to do. So I started thinking, all right, well, what have I always wanted to try? And I'm like, it took me a while. And I was like, well, maybe I'll try pottery. And I tried pottery. And I'm like, pottery and me don't get along. Then I tried pickleball and I hurt my ankle. I'm like, oh, I like this, but I don't think I want to I want to walk for the rest of my 30 years, right? Or whatever I had. Then I tried, what else did I try? I tried Mahjong and canasta. And I'm like, there's a reason I never played games. I hate this stuff. I couldn't find it. And so I started doing a lot of research. This is what I do when I get stressed. I start researching and I look for answers. Are the women's groups online? Because again, my husband still works and will be working forever. He's younger than me to start with, but he's not going. So I didn't have him to hang out with. So I started looking for groups and activities online, and I came across some women's groups that were very helpful. But what I realized was there was really no resources for somebody like me. There was nobody out there helping me. I, by mistake, found a retirement coach. I didn't even know that was a thing. I'm an executive coach, and I've been that. So I knew there were coaches, but I didn't know there was a retirement coach. She turns out to be 42 years old, and I'm like, well, what the hell does she know? But I hired her anyway. I loved her, and she really helped walk me through kind of a couple things. One is, it's okay to work. I don't have to retire. I can work differently. I don't have to work 40 hours. I could work 20 hours. I could work for myself. I could go work at Sephora, which is my dream job, but I'll never do it because it smells in there. She helped me really put things into perspective. And so once that happened, I was like, why doesn't anybody know this? Why didn't anyone tell me this? So that's how the book kind of came about. It's like I went through all of these exercises myself, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And so I said, well, I'm going to build a workbook. It started out as a workbook, and it's kind of what it is. In my dream, people take it to Starbucks and sit down and start answering the questions and start kind of finding a way forward, because there is no guide, there's no path. You have to build it.
Well, and I love what you said. We're kind of the first generation, and I'd never thought of it like that, but yeah, we are.
We are. And we don't have anybody to like, okay, men have been retiring since the beginning of time, right? And they, not news, men and women are different, right? And they need different things in their lives, and not all men are the same, but men have some role models, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Men play golf, they, whatever. They have role models and things that they may have been interested in that were different. What filled up my time when I wasn't working was raising my kids. And now what fills up some of my time is taking care of my elderly parents. A lot of men don't have those things in their lives. Some do, some don't. So there's just nobody to look to and say, I'm going to do that. So we have to change that as women. We have to change it. Like you're podcasting. Did you ever think you'd be podcasting? Was that on your bucket list?
No, all I ever wanted to do was work in radio.
Well, so you made it happen.
Yes.
Indirectly, but you made it happen.
Well, yeah, and I do work in radio.
Oh,
but
okay.
But that's why, I was able to transition into this, because I realized I love radio so much, but it's real time. And once you're done, you're done. Anything you say, people aren't going to hear again. And one of the things was always say it in the first hour, then say it again in the third hour, because different people listen differently. And so now having a podcast is like all these things are evergreen. 10 weeks down the road, someone might say, oh, I'm going to retire. And I'm going to be like, go listen to Andrea's episode
Right. It's
because
the
it's
best.
not gone. Yeah.
That's your way. So for me, what I discovered, part of figuring out what to do next is figuring out, like, the word purpose. I really hate that word because then it's like a thing. It's really not a thing. But when you're looking for it, you think you're looking for a thing. And what I discovered through my journey was that my purpose is just this. It's like I'm the town crier. This is going to happen. Get ready. Be prepared, right? This is coming for you. Be ready. Don't fall into it. Don't do what I did and think, I'll figure it out when I get there. I mean, come on. How hard is not working? How hard could that be? It was really hard.
It is.
We don't realize that it's not about the paycheck. The work isn't about the paycheck. It's about my identity. It's about the structure of my days. It's about what I'm doing, how I'm making a difference in the world, and it's my connections. My people all left. Where were?
Even when your kids graduate
Yes.
and you're working, still the whole friends thing changes because you're not showing up at school things. And I remember the loneliness I felt, even though I had friends, but it was different, and because we build around our family. I love this so much. What I'm thinking is, I always tell people, if you want to live your dreams and you have to put them on hold because you're working or you're whatever, is start thinking about it now. So when the opportunity arises, you're ready. So is that kind of what you say? Start reading the book now, start.
Yes, it's a little slightly different because everyone told me you need to retire to something, but I don't think so. I think you need to retire with something. And there's a little bit of a difference. And the difference is I've already started those things before I retired. So I'm already ingrained in that group and I'm making a smoother transition from this thing to whatever's next because I already have a new group. I have some new activities. I'm involved in some things. I've done some thinking and thought about it before I left. When you retire to something, it feels not started yet, right? It feels like then you're like, okay, well, it's hard to get started. It's always easier. I've been in HR. When I was working, I was in HR for my career. It's always easier to find a job when you have a job. Same thing. Always easier to transition to something new when you already have some things happening.
Yeah, I really like that because one of the things that for me that is difficult is I don't always want to be the newbie. Like I've been doing my job and I've created, like you say, this identity. And then, when you retire and you go start you're the newbie and and it's assumed you don't know anything and you come in just being willing to learn. And sometimes that can be really exhausting and intimidating.
100%. And when you join even a new club or you start a new activity, there's already set social structures in place, and those can be intimidating, right? How do you how do you integrate yourself into those social structures? You mentioned something before that really resonates with me. Your mom friends, when you had kids and your kids were there, right? Most of my mom friends were stay-at-home moms, and they had a major crisis when their last kid went off to college. And I was like, this house is really clean. Where did all those kids go? Like I was like working, right? So it didn't hit me then. But since then, they've had the last 10 years to build out their lives. I'm way back at the beginning because they had their crisis 10 years ago. And so they are integrating. They're, oh, come do this with us. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to do that. Or come do this or come do that. And it was nice they included me. But I didn't feel included because those weren't things of my choice. I was joining what they built for themselves. And I wasn't really sure that's what I wanted to do. So it's like I kind of drifted from those people too, which made me feel even more alone.
Yeah.
It's a time where, it's even, honestly, it's worse. It's just, again, first world problems, as my children call them. When you retire and you're an executive or you're in a leadership position, everybody listens to you. But you're right or wrong. They call it, how are you doing? What do you think? And then suddenly nobody cares. They don't want your opinion. They don't care what you think. Like there's just all these things that change at once. The problem is we're focused on the fact that we're leaving our job and we're not going to have a paycheck. But there's way more to it than that.
That is so good. Just even talking about it. And working in radio, one of the biggest things is we have a lot of layoffs. You come to work one day and it's a whole different radio station. Our identity can get really wrapped up in that. And it's like, who am I now? Or, if you go to retire and you lose a spouse, who am I now without a job and a spouse? I love that you got a coach, because I always say a good coach is well coached. And coaches are so great because they help you explore.
So she not only did she help me explore, but she helped me really pinpoint that what I wanted to do with my time was to help people move forward, right? That's not a thing you can find in a book from from purpose. And when I looked back, there's an exercise in the book called Looking Back to Look Forward. So when you look back at your life and you start parsing it out and thinking about the things you've done and spent your time, patterns emerge. And I've always been doing that. I went into HR. My job was to help people with their careers. I did some college advising. I was helping people get to college. I've done career coaching. I've done executive coaching. And I'm like, well, maybe I should be a retirement coach. Light bulbs. So you find things when you looking back at what you've done with your life and where you feel like your purpose is, right? Where you belong. And then once you find it, you have to give it away. That's, the rule.
That's the rule. I love it. And I love what you said earlier about, oh, I didn't want to quit working, but now I can work when I want. You have the flexibility now, which I think is so great, because it gives you the best of both.
Right. And it's empowering, because people call up. I am lucky enough to still have contacts, and people call me and say, will you help me with this HR project? And I'd be like, no, I will not. Because I don't want to do that work anymore. I used to have to do it because it's part of my job, but now I really don't want to do it. If you would like me to do this, I'm happy to help with that. But, you can say no. You feel, I don't feel as obligated to do things anymore. I can say no based on what's important to me. But I can tell you it took a while to get there, because what I did was, when I first started, I panicked. Like I said, I panicked. I had nothing to do. I started making phone calls and taking HR work, consulting work. And then about 6 months into that, I looked at my husband and I go, I stopped this for a reason. How am I back here? I left this and now here I am again, because I didn't know what else to do. So I went back to what was comfortable, because I was so uncomfortable. And so then I had to unwind all of that. So I retired twice. Many people do this, by the way. It's very common. They retire twice, then they go do something else and they retire from that, because that's not what they want to do. They think they're failing because they can't find the thing, but actually what they're doing is collecting data. And that's the most important thing you can do. Everything you do, like it, don't like it, it's data for you.
I love that. Yeah,
So,
because it would be easy to go, oh, well, I hate pottery. Oh, well, I hate, instead of, and like, so for me, one of the things is, like, a lot of my friends love to hike. I don't love to hike. I swim every day. I have my exercise. And so then I feel kind of bad, like, well, I should be doing that to connect. And then I'm like, no, I get to do what I want. I have been doing everybody's bidding my whole life. And now it's my turn to go, maybe not.
right, exactly. Well, that's how I feel about Mahjong and Canasta. If one more person tries to teach me Mahjong, I'm going to kill them. Not really. I'm going to say, come play Mahjong with us. I'm like, trust me, you do not want me to play Mahjong with you. I can't, you just don't. I'm not a games. I never played games. I don't know what my mother, who's 91 years old and is a game queen, bridge, Mahjong, Canasta, she keeps telling me, you have to play Mahjong because that's how you're going to meet people. I'm like, I don't want to meet the people that play Mahjong. And she's like, but everybody plays Mahjong. I said, well, okay, then I guess I'm going to be alone because it's just not for me.
Yeah.
And it's okay to say that, I don't feel bad about it. I mean, I sometimes, because it's not very nice.
But well, and I keep feeling in our conversation, it's about permission. Like, I feel like with working moms is very different than working dads. I'm not saying it's better or worse. And now I know there are dads that stay home and the mom works. So, but it is different. And our nurturingness, around our family. I know so many single moms or moms going through the empty nest. When you say, well, what do you love? What do they say? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm a dance mom. I'm not a dance mom. I have boys, but not that you can't have dance boys, but I'm just saying, these moms I was friends with, their life was consumed by dance and travel dance and performances and costumes and makeup and hair. And then it went away, right? It's the same as a job. It is a
Mhm.
job, right? Essentially, that was their job and it went away. And then what? Right.
Yeah.
So it's the same whether you're filling your life with work or something else. It's transition. I don't have you ever heard or read the book Life is in the Transitions? It's by a guy by the name of Bruce Feiler. It changed everything for me. That was sort of what put me on the right path, was reading that book and realizing that life is transition. It's the normal parts when you're not in transition that are abnormal. Because at any given point in our life, some part of our life is in transition. My spouse died, I'm in transition, right? I'm moving, I'm in transition. My kids are not well, health, whatever. You're always in some form of transition. And when you realize that's normal and you understand the phases of transition, I write about this in the book also. It really helped me to know that every new beginning starts with the end of something else. Think about that. I'm like, oh, duh, yeah. So something ended, so now I'm in the ending. So how do you say goodbye in a way that's clear? That's why they have retirement parties. That's why it's a ritual. How do you say goodbye so you can move forward? For
Mhm.
me, it was cleaning out closets and throwing away work clothes. Like that was one of my goodbyes. I'm not wearing this anymore. I'm never wearing that again. You then move into what is called the messy middle, where you start trying to all these different things to see what fits, and you feel like a failure because nothing fits, and you try new things, and you just keep doing it. It could last a month, it could last 2 years, it could last 5 years. But then eventually you settle and you find the new beginning. And then you start over in some other area of your life. And once you sort of know that and you can pinpoint where you're at in any given point of your life, it feels less dramatic. It feels less stressful. It feels just, okay, here's where I am and I got to get through it. What am I going to do that?
Yeah. I had the image of a train and how when it changes tracks, it kind of jolt, but then it just
Yep.
evens out.
Yep. And it does.
Yeah.
But it takes a while and then something else happens and you start over. But that's
Right.
the beauty of it. You get to
Mhm.
decide. You get to decide how you want to be. The key thing, the message, to me, the town crier stands at just don't wait to get there to figure it out. That's it. Start thinking about it before you jump off the ladder and do a nosedive like I did. Think about what you're going to do when you leave. Start to plant those seeds before you go. So you're retiring with something, not to something.
Yeah. Hire a coach, hire Andrea.
Hire a coach, read a book. I mean, and that's the other thing. Not everyone can afford a coach. And so
Mhm.
that's part of the reason I wrote the book, because to me, you can coach yourself through this process if you're asking yourself the right questions. And that's what the book is for. You can spend $14.99 or whatever and walk through a process and hopefully get some answers by the end. You don't need a coach necessarily.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to give back. I do have a Substack and I'm trying to build community that way. So I write every week, same topics. We talk about all the different things that happen to you when you transition to retirement, what retirement is like, those kinds of things. And I'm building up a little bit of a community there. So it's not more of it's more of an online thing than a drop-in at this point.
Mhm.
There are a lot of resources out there. I do also on my website have a resource guide that is 100 pages of me collecting resources for people. Many of them are so if you're retiring solo, here's a bunch of resources. If you're retiring as a couple, here's a bunch of resources. If you want to travel, here's some resources. So books, podcasts, yours will be added, of course.
You've been thinking about starting a podcast, or maybe you have started one, but you aren't sure what comes next. Meet Podcrafter. It's the membership that helps you build, maintain, and elevate your podcast with step-by-step guidance and personal support from me, Coach Lori, from choosing the perfect title to planning episodes, writing descriptions, staying consistent, growing your audience. You'll never have to wonder what to do next. Your voice matters. Let Podcrafter help you turn your message into a podcast that makes an impact. Join us today.
If you're retiring solo, here's a bunch of resources. If you're retiring as a couple, here's a bunch of resources. If you want to travel, here's some resources. So books, podcasts, yours will be added, of course.
Thank you.
All, just everything I've come across in my travels, I've just been collecting and putting them into a resource guide. Again, because not everybody can afford coaching. So why do you, if I've already found it, why do you have to go look for it? Here it is. Go see if it works for you. Courses, everything.
Wow. And your website is your name,
AndreaMaizes.com. Very interesting.
Well, I love it because it's like sometimes we can't remember the thing, like if it's a program or whatever. Right. So if somebody wants to buy your book, where's the best place to get it?
It's on Amazon.
Okay.
Sadly, that is still the best place to buy a lot of things.
Yeah. And then your website has plenty of resources.
I do have I have a blog out there that has a lot of stuff. There's my Substack, which is called, if you happen to be on Substack, it's called The Next Edit. Again, on there, if you go back into some of the earlier resources, I've been doing that for about a year now. It started as a way for me to put the resources I was finding out there. So there's quizzes, there's questions, there's exercises that are different than what's in the book on the Substack. So I encourage people to look at Substack. It's amazing. There's so much cool stuff out there. And it's not like Facebook or Instagram. It's people talking about things.
Yeah.
In a polite way. I do work with people one-on-one. I also do some group coaching. Something else I've been doing a lot lately, which I've really loved, is book clubs. So you have a group of women, they're all around the same age, they buy the book, and I'll do a facilitated book club. So we'll go through an exercise each week, talk about the exercise, but they pick the people. It's not strangers, it's their friends, their people. So I've been doing quite a few of those, and they're fun because they have fun. Right. And so it's sort of group coaching, if you will, but it's more around a book club. So I do that as well.
Oh, that sounds like so much fun.
It is. If you have a bunch of women your own age that are all kind of experiencing similar things, it's nice and you feel comfortable going through it together.
Mm-hmm.
Not alone.
Yeah. I mean, whether it's hearing or seeing, when people go, oh, it's not just me, there's something really beautiful about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And for some reason, we always think it's just us. And when you start looking around, you realize, geez, I'm not alone here. Problem is we have trouble finding each other, which is so unbelievable considering all the social media and the internet. It's still, I think it's the same thing. It's overwhelming. There's so much out there that you don't know where to start. So you do nothing.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel that way. It's like, it's too much noise. And then I have to decipher, is this what I'm really looking for?
Right.
Andrea, you have given us so many amazing things to think about, and I can't wait to go through your book, and maybe I'll go through it with my sister.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yes. Before we go, what is it you really want us to know?
Don't assume you're going to figure it out when you get there. That's really the message, is do the work now before you get there. Everybody's planning financially. Nobody's planning for life. And life is what you're going to live for the next 25, 30 years. And why waste the time trying to figure it out when you're there? Do the work while you're here so you can start immediately living. If I could share one thing, don't think you're going to figure it out when you get there. Figure it out before you get there and retire with things, not to things.
I love it. I love it. Andrea Maizes is the author of Your Next Edit and the creator of the Next Edit newsletter, which is on Substack, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Lori. I appreciate it and I enjoyed meeting you.
If you love this podcast, here's a big ask. Will you share with your friends and family, subscribe, give us a review, and a 5-star rating so that others looking to reinvent their lives will be able to get the help they're looking for? Thank you in advance.